Okay, let's get down to the business of the NFL. And in the NFL, our Ravens victory on Monday night. If you all saw it, sure all of you did. 41-31 in Tampa. Ravens over the Bucks 41-31. Um, this was actually more decisive than I thought. I thought the Bucks would put up more of a fight, but they had a lot of problems in this one. And the Ravens offense, I think, is I think not only is it the best in the league, it might be the best in the league by a margin, by a pretty good margin. That includes Kansas City, Buffalo, or anybody else you want to talk about. I mean, they really are dominant. Uh, Jackson 5, Joe Tessitore coined it the first time. That's the first one I remember it coined when Joe Tessitore coined it on Monday Night Football when he had 5 TDs against the Rams. He had 5 TDs against the Bucks, 17 of 22, 281. I thought Lamar's been terrific. I don't think certainly been the best quarterback in the league. Certainly been good in all phases. He's had to be better. The line has struggled. He's adjusted. He's adjusted. That's what I love about this. Like first 2 games, have to get the ball out quick, get the ball out to the tight ends, get the ball out fast. Then he gets time, throws the ball downfield. Wide receivers are improving. It's everything, all from all angles. Very tough to defend. Lamar has been outstanding, having probably maybe more passing yards on track than he's ever had. That's saying a lot. Derrick Henry, wow. I think he's definitely in the MVP discussion. I don't think there's any question about it. You look at a lot of these quarterbacks that are having down years. So I know why not look at a running back. Any running back that's on pace for 2,000 yards is in the discussion, and he is on pace for 2,000 yards. I mean, he's rattling off 150, 160, like 15 carries. I even saw it. It looked like ESPN was even kind of baiting them into, hey, where's Derrick Henry? He's just standing on the sideline. I think Harbaugh was just throwing the ball more, getting a little rest. In the second half, he's taking it to the house. I mean, it's wild to see Derrick Henry, people making business decisions at the red zone in terms of even tech. No, you got it, man. You just like professional athletes not even wanting to tackle him in the red zone. Outstanding. Henry, I think, was fantastic all season. I definitely think he's in the MVP discussion. Look at this name with 100+ yards receiving. Rashard Bateman, 4 catches, 121. He's running the 9 route. He's running a deep ball. So this is where it's going a lot of times when it's going deep. Not that Zay Flowers can't go throw the deep stuff or Mark Andrews or anything like that. But when the receiver goes the deep routes, I mean, I see a lot of that stuff. A lot of his stuff is home run. Look, Bateman is a good receiver when healthy. You never heard me say, I don't think I did, that Bateman isn't a good receiver. Bateman is a good receiver, but he's showing everybody he could stay healthy, and when they get the ball more frequently down the field, that he can be effective, and he's been effective. Also in this offense, no pressure on him. There's so much you have to really pick your poison. It's like, yeah, so he's always been a good route runner, but now he doesn't have as much pressure on him. He's not getting double teamed. He's definitely Bateman, outstanding. Mark Andrews definitely looked back. I thought good game for him. Zay Flowers has been solid all season. The receiving core has been really, really good as well. Roquan, I thought this was his best game of the season. 18 tackles, and also some of the thunder he was bringing in this one. Really doing hits hard. Not quite as good. I don't think he's good for his standards, but he was fantastic on Monday night. 18 tackles, really had a lot of hits. He's the leader. I think there's no question about it. He's the leader of the defense. At some point, it may be Kyle Hamilton, which I thought also has been really good lately in the last few games. But this is Roquan Smith's defense. He was outstanding. 18 tackles in the game on Monday. Baker Mayfield, 31 for 45, 370 yards. That's deceptive. I don't think Baker was bad. I don't think Baker's the problem. I think the number is high. A lot of it was garbage. They were so far behind. That score is deceptive too. They were never in doubt. They had to throw a lot. I think that's kind of contributing to the passing problems, the passing stats that the Ravens had to some degree. I think some of it is the offense is doing so well. Teams aren't running the ball. When you're ahead by so much, teams aren't running the ball. And I think that's a factor as well, because a lot of that was third quarter, fourth quarter, when the Ravens had it in hand. But I thought Mayfield was fine. Costly losses in this one as well. Rashad White, I thought the Bucs ran the ball better than I think anybody has all season on the Ravens. I think 10 carries for 40 yards. Bucky Irving ran the ball in this one. I think what it was, the problem was, like I said, they were so far ahead, the Ravens, that they really couldn't keep running the ball. Like they had to play catch up because the Ravens kept score 34 and answer. So the run game kind of became moot, and they started throwing more as well. Cade Otton, shout out to Cade Otton for Tampa. He took a beating. I saw 6 or 7 really times he got creamed. Once, almost on back-to-back plays by Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith. Man, he really took some shots in this one. Had a good game overall. 8 receptions, 100 yards. They're going to need it. They lost Mike Evans. He's going to be out for week 11. Chris Godwin is going to be out for the season. Kind of a mistake, I think, to have him in there. Todd Bowles didn't really want to hear that. That he didn't have that many receivers. He had guys hurt, but I don't know. I think that one was pretty much well in hand. I got him out of there, but that's, I understand it. I mean, I understand it. Certainly, you can't foresee injuries sometimes. Andre Whitfield, 10 tackles, 1 interception. I thought clearly he was their best defender. He had 10 tackles. He had the 1 INT. I think they did very well, I think, in all season long. Whitfield, I think it's either him or Kyle Hamilton is the best safety in the league. I thought he was pretty much all over the field, as good as anybody did on the Bucs defense. But the Ravens spread the ball around so much. It was just too much of the Ravens in this one. 41-31, Ravens over the Bucs. Bucs have real problems. I mean, they lost, like I said, Mike Evans and Godwin for the season. Well, they lost Mike Evans to like week 11. Godwin may not come back at all this season ending as well. So that's a problem. Their defense has given up a lot of points. Ravens defense, I'm not as concerned as other people are because of kind of what I said. They're scoring so much. So I don't think it's a huge issue as well. I think there's some good stuff happening. Marlon Humphrey went out the game with the injury. That's a concern, even though he had 2 interceptions in the game. Brandon Stevens, I think, has been pretty good. Kyle Hamilton has been good. Pass rush, not great, except for Kyle Van Noy. That's a bit of an issue. So I think that's part of the problem. I always think that's part of the problem sometimes that's not mentioned when pass defense. How much rush are you getting to get the throws, to get the corners, etc. So, but I do think that's a bit of an issue, but I'm not that worried about it here going forward. We got a game this week. 5-2 Ravens going into Cleveland, who are now opening up, it looks like, a new stadium in the county of Cleveland, Brook Park. So they are playing here in Huntington Field. Huntington Bank Field is the name. 5-2 Baltimore Ravens against the 1-6 Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson, for better or worse, with the Browns in this one. Lamar definitely on the MVP pace. 1,810 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, playing out of this universe as well. I'm not as worried about the MVP, frankly, as well. I'm sure Lamar isn't worried about it either. I mean, he's, though, on a different level. You wonder if he's throwing the ball better or if it's just the receivers and everything are better around him for the first time. So many years he's had to work without a lot. Now he's got a lot. And I think that factors in to how much better Lamar has been. Derrick Henry, fantastic stuff from Henry. Absolutely the best running back in the league here so far. 134, 873 yards, 8 TDs. He's been fantastic. I think like I heard during the broadcast, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry were talking. He's like, you're faster than I thought he was. And I agree with him. Like, you expect the power, the tough runs, the inside, you expect that. But this guy is game breaking consistently. I think Cleveland, obviously, having a tough time with the record, period, is going to have a tough time with Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers, a little bit more of a decoy on Monday night, but I think Zay has been really good. 34 receptions, 412, 1 TD. Outstanding stuff by Zay Flowers, I think, all year long. He's a really good route runner. He's a real receiver. I think his body is also filling out some physically where he can take the handle of, even though he's not particularly tall, of a receiver, real route running. I don't think you have to gadget him. I keep saying that. He can outrun people. He can outrun them on routes. He can catch in traffic. He can do a lot of those things. He's not particularly tall, so there's some issues there. But I think I don't have any problem from what I've seen with Zay Flowers all season long. The rest of the receiving group also to Bateman, outstanding in the game Monday. Also to quieter Isaiah Likely. Everybody's not going to eat, but yeah, outstanding core. Best receiving group we've ever seen from the Ravens. At least I've seen it in many, many, many years. Kyle Van Noy, 7 sacks, got another sack Monday. Van Noy has been fantastic. Our on the other side, not nearly as good. Ojapo, Tavarius Robinson, not on the field as much, not as impactful. But this has been the guy, certainly the pass rush, Kyle Van Noy, not a traditional pass rusher, even though he's got 7 sacks. But him setting the edge, I love it. Love it, love it. Fundamentally sound. I think he's been a godsend for the Ravens. This is like what an Ozzie Newsome and an Eric DaCosta play like a Raven. This guy, Kyle Van Noy, versatile, veteran, experienced, hungry. He'll be able to go ahead, no matter who's at quarterback. It's going to be looks like Jameis, but he outstanding stuff all season by Kyle Van Noy. Jameis Winston is going to start. DTR, Dorian Robinson, is hurt. Deshaun Watson was carried off on the stretcher last week, out for the season, torn Achilles. Fans, you shouldn't be cheering if somebody gets off the field injured. Not uncalled for, in my opinion. I mean, if a guy gets hurt, to do that. I can to the degree. I mean, as much as this is unpopular to say, he's not been good. I mean, there's no other way to slice him. I mean, he was like 30th quarterback ranking. Your offense has been terrible all year. Some people saying Jameis is an upgrade. I don't buy that. This guy is struggled his whole career. He's going to get you probably more passing yards, I would think, but his interception totals have always been high. He's always been a little reckless with the football as well. Nick Chubb did return in this one. So Jerome Ford's still there. 11 carries, 22 yards, 1 TD. Rounding him into form is going to be very, very important for him now. So definitely you don't have Deshaun Watson there. Their offensive line has not been good this year. They've historically, Cleveland has been good in the trenches on the offensive line. I think they've even been underrated. This year, they're not so good. They're not running the ball very well. The Ravens have an outstanding run defense. So I think that was, even with Nick Chubb, and he's still trying to getting his sea legs in, but they are going to run the football. I think that's going to be Kevin Stefanski's formula as well going forward. No more Amari Cooper is in Buffalo, so Jerry Jeudy now, for better or for worse, is your number one receiver, at least by default. 21 carries, 266 yards. I think Judy is there. I think I kind of agree with Steve Smith's segment of assessment rather of a Jerry Judy. He's a jag, kind of just a guy. I think he's decent receiver. I think if he was on a like playing with Pat Mahomes, I use for example, he might fool somebody into thinking that he can have a 1,000-yard receiver or something like that if he's playing with good talent and stuff around him. He's certainly not in Cleveland. I think he's got flashes of ability, flashes of a really good receiver, but not nearly consistent enough as a number one receiver. I think this will be compared to what the Ravens have had to deal with a lot of the season. This would be a situation where they look at, whoa, a little bit of a day off there as well. This guy ain't a day off. How long is he going to stay in Cleveland? That's going to be the thing. I don't think the Ravens necessarily going to be a prime away, but Myles Garrett isn't the problem. Myles Garrett is terrific. Not a terrific start for his standards at the start, but he still got 4 sacks. This is going to be the focal point. They're going to have to give help on his side, whatever side he's on, going against Myles Garrett. I think this is going to be the guy that you're going to have to go ahead and account for on every play. All right, X factors on the offense here for the Ravens. We're going to X Isaiah Likely. Been a little quiet the last few weeks. Not necessarily through his fault. I just think he hasn't had as big a slice of the cake. They've been kind of moving the ball around. Andrews has been getting more. Receivers have been now getting more. Not as much to the tight ends. We'll see. I think he's kind of due for a big game. Interesting to see how he does. On defense, X, Trent Simpson. So X here for him, more him than in the secondary. Cleveland is going to run the football, I think, a lot. You can see a lot of study of Nick Chubb forward. We'll see how effective they can be. I think there will be some firing up of the base here of the fans because there's no more Deshaun Watson, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they react to it. That said, Ravens win this game handily. We're all thinking that, right? I think Ravens 38. They've been scoring 30, highest scoring offense in the league. 38. Let's make it 17. I don't think the Browns score a lot of points. I don't think they have the passing offense to exploit the Ravens' weakness in the passing game, passing defense. So I think it's 38-17. There you go. All right.